Joe Smith, a.k.a. Joe Beast. What's going on, my guy?
What's going on, Strick? What's going on, Austin? How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful,
Yeah, great, man.
doing wonderful, my friend. Hey, thank you that you was able to join us today, man. Thanks for tapping in. Got a lot to get to, man. But first and foremost, Derek Pearson, he just showed me a picture of you and Walt Williams, on your draft night. He hosted an event for you guys before you took the stage as the number one guy with the wonderful laced suit on. You know, you was dressed to impress back in the day. So tell us, man, just real quick, just start it off, man. What was it like? You know, like what was the whole process when you're leading up to that? You're going to work out. You go to combine. You're working out for all kinds of teams. They're asking you crazy questions. And then,
Right.
like, when did you kind of know? You know, what was that process and what was the feeling and the emotions of just walking up there being the number one overall pick?
I mean, the process was crazy. I mean, I visited the top three teams. It was the Warriors, Sixers, and I can't remember who had the third pick. But
Mm-hmm.
I visited the top three teams, and like you said, they put you through workouts. They put you through an interview process. But the workouts were ridiculous because it was like what the best workouts I ever had in my life. For all three teams, and I really didn't know that I still didn't know that I was going to be picked first because our draft class was so deep.
Right.
Yeah, myself, Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse, Kevin Garnett, Damon Stoudemire. I mean, Antonio McDyess. So I really didn't know. I still didn't know, but the workout that I had with the Golden State Warriors, man, was probably the best workout ever, man. I may have missed one or two shots the entire workout, and they put me through all types of shooting drills and ball handling drills and post moves and all types of stuff, man. And I think that kind of put me over the edge a little bit. That workout put me over the edge a little bit. And sitting in this green room, draft night, nerves, the nerves are on edge, and not knowing where I'm going to be picked. I know I'm be picked at least top three, but still not knowing which pick. But just hearing your name called as the number one pick, man, it was like a relief, like one of the greatest feelings you can ever have, man. And walking across that stage, seeing David Stern at the time on stage, and shaking his hand, it really made me feel like I made it. All the dreams, all the goals, and all everything that you do, and have that as a kid, I really felt like I made it at that moment.
No doubt. No doubt. We're not going to get into the controversy, and the details of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, people are very knowledgeable and knowing that there was a part of your career that it wasn't your fault. It was mired, but
Right.
it's deals that are done in the back rooms type of situation.
Correct.
That was tough, and it had to be tough for you because I think it cost you a little bit of cash over the course of your, and maybe it didn't. I mean, you still might have got it. I don't know, but we ain't gonna go into that. But you're a career guy that was knocking on the door of double doubles for a great portion of your career. A lot of people, at your size, playing the power forward position, I think that you were a little ahead of yourself, Joe B. I think you were ahead of your day very well.
And good thing I worked on that a lot. But it was a tough adjustment at first, but once I got the hang of it, man, it was just like another day in the office.
Big facts. Maryland, you kind of opened the door, started really a big run for Maryland basketball down there. Especially after the success that you had in the ACC, in its prominence and dominance of time.
Right.
You guys were one of the big dogs that made that happen, and you led that charge. Do you think you could have went a little bit further? Do you think maybe you should have stayed and saw it through, or do you think it was just time for you to move on?
I think it was time for me to move on. I mean, it was. I had 2 great years at the University of Maryland. I can't take nothing away from that. And our first year, it was we surprised a lot of people. A lot of people didn't see us coming, and we were able to make it to the Sweet 16 my freshman year, and then my sophomore year, we were on the radar at that point, so we had to come out a little differently and approach games differently. So I mean, it was a great learning experience on how to approach the game. I learned a lot from Coach Williams. I learned a lot from the players on our team, and I just felt it was time for me to go. I mean, if I would have stayed a couple more years, we may have gotten a championship, but a championship or two. But I thought at that moment, at that time, it was time for me to move on. And I sat down with Coach Williams in his office before I made my decision, and he pretty much told me the same thing. So
Yeah, no doubt.
so so I really didn't. I felt bad about leaving, but I really felt like I was moving on to a good position.
Well, let's quickly talk about this because there's been some changes and some adjustments. I'll talk about. I wish I could play you the clip, but kind of verbatim it. But let's just talk about the playoffs real quick, man. Especially with some of the changes. The rules have definitely changed in the favor of a lot of people. You're seeing now that back in our times, we maybe shot. If we shot 8, 10 3-pointers in a game, just over that was a lot. We were like, damn, we were shooting tonight. Now you've got guys by themselves shooting 10, 12, 14 individually threes. And that's not even collectively. So there's been some changes and adjustments to the game. Another thing has been the foul situation. And I have to feel this debate a lot, Joe Beast, man. And that's the Michael Jordan situation. And I keep telling people, I'm like, man, y'all crazy. MJ would have minimum average 45 in today's game just because of just how dominant you got to play against him. You've got to see him. But now there's 2 players injured. I want you to address the first question, and then we'll talk about like Giannis ends up going out the first half through injury. And as well as Ja Morant, 2 major top contributors and now find themselves at a deficit down 0-1. But we'll talk about that quickly next. And if I need to address the question, I will. But tell us just kind of the difference of the game now compared to then.
I mean, obviously, they wanted more scoring, throughout the years. From when we played, it was all about defense and locking down and like you said, not shooting as many threes, but trying to get a good quality look at the basket, whether it's mid-range or layups or dunks first. But now the game is spread out a lot more. From 1 through 5 is almost a positionless game right now. A lot of teams, play small ball. When you play small ball back in the days, that was we'll find ways to crush it on the inside. But now it's like teams play small ball and everybody just spreads the floor and there's a lot of driving kicks. Sometimes I feel like, a lot of guys have layups and, mid-range jump shots, but they're looking for the 3 more often now. And like you say, individuals are putting up 12, 13, 14, 15 3-pointers a game. And, that's because, obviously because of what Steph Curry brought to the game. And how many championships that they were winning and how effective the Golden State Warriors have been. But also because, you're having more shooters in the game. A lot of people are working on that 3-point shot. A lot of guys are, trying to take advantage of that 3-point shot. And with unfortunately, with the analytics, I
Right,
hate to
right,
speak on it, but
right.
with the analytics, they want and expect you to take more 3-point shots nowadays than what it was back in our time.
Yeah, so George Gervin says this, and you gotta love Iceman but he's got a point. And I want to throw this out to the Sutter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Just your thoughts on this question I'm about to drop right now. George Gervin, I've got a quote from George Gervin on an interview that he did, and he basically said he was called up when Klay Thompson broke his record, and I believe it was scoring for a quarter. And he broke that record, and they called him and they said, hey, Klay has just broken your record. And he's like, what record? My record ain't broken. And he says what I did with 2 points. There back then there was no 3-point shot.
No 3-point shot.
He was getting buckets like that with only 2s. And then he said, well, I think you need to put an asterisk by that because, I did what I did with 2s and no 3s. So my record still should be standing, basically, is what he said. So because that's the crazy thing. Break that down.
He speaks the truth and he speaks his mind. And he has a point there. Like you say, he has a great point, with the way they're shooting threes. And I don't know how many threes Klay might have hit.
I think he hit 9. I think he hit 8 or 9. Yeah.
In that one quarter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a big difference when you're hitting 8 or 9 threes in that one quarter compared to having to get to the bucket or having to score mid-range or having to score other ways besides shooting 3-pointer. That changed a lot in the game. And he has a great point with that comment, with that statement. And I guess we can put it 2 ways. You can go by today's game, and then you can go by yesterday's game if you want to look at it that way. But he has a good point.
Yeah. Now let's get into the playoffs a little bit. Real quick. Do you think there needs to be some adjustments maybe to some defensive stuff? It seems as though both him and Giannis and Ja Morant similar to how they changed the rule. You remember when Kawhi Leonard and Zaza Pachulia used to kind of go up, and then they changed the rule a little bit about being able to go under people with their so they kind of find ways to make those adjustments. Now these were blocking calls, kind of guys were starting to get elevated and then guys slide up under them. Do you think there maybe needs to be an adjustment to a rule in those types of situations, being that now people are getting more hurt?
I don't know what type of adjustment they can make with that one.
Right.
That's a tough
one.
I mean, it's I think it also comes to how the guys are taking the charges too. Because Strick, both of us know we took a lot of charges in our day.
Facts.
And we let nobody come down the way they letting guys come down. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I think it's also the way they're taking the charge. I mean, I'm watching these guys and their bodies as they're taking the charges. They're almost falling before the contact is getting in. And you and I, we took it to the chest first, fell, and that allowed the offensive player to have a cushion when he fell as well. So
Facts.
It's a tough call to make. But Ja, he just jumped so high, man, that it's ridiculous that it's just kind of tough to make that call. He just jumped so high and explode so high that his land is going to be a tough fall if you're taking the charge the wrong way. And with Giannis, the same situation. I mean, was his on the charge?
Yeah, both of them were blockings. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and Giannis the same situation. I mean, I think the way I looked at Morant, and I think his wrist bent underneath on his landing, and I think that was what was the issue with his. I didn't see Giannis's full.
Yeah, he kind of fell on his back. On his.
Oh yeah, the back part. Yeah, I did see that. He went up. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the way. Like I said, it's the way guys are taking the charge. We took it in the chest, and that allowed the offensive player, some type of cushion to land and fall. But they're falling before the offensive player gets there, so they're not able to kind of embrace the offensive player as well.
Got you.
A couple things that I've seen thrown out there for ways to go about it, because eliminating the charge, I think, would open things up a little bit too much.
Too much, exactly. Yeah, you can't do that.
You have to find some way to keep it in there. But a couple of suggestions I've seen are expand the restricted area, bump that arc out a little bit, so you still have to be a little bit further away. The other one is don't let guys slide underneath when someone's already in the air. If you're in position before he takes off after he's gathered, that's fine.
Correct.
But sliding underneath, that's where a lot of the danger comes in. That's what Love did to Giannis. He took off. He was in the air. Love slides in underneath. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that would help at all?
It's possible.
The sliding underneath, I thought they approached that years ago and supposedly corrected that years ago with the charges. I thought they did that years ago. So maybe they need to go back to that.
Right. Yeah. Looking at the games and the series at this point, being that they lost Ja Morant, I know they're a team that actually has a pretty good record without Ja Morant.
Right.
But could this be a little bit too much for the Lakers? Being for the Grizzlies to be able to overcome, or do they? You still think they got a pretty fair shot because they got a great home record.
I still think they have a shot, but the way I watched the Lakers play the other day, with the contributions that they got all the way around. If they continue to do that, it'll be tough for the Grizzlies. They got Reeves balling. LeBron and AD are obviously going to do their thing, but the contributions that they're getting from the other players was what got them over the hump even the other day. And if that continues, then Memphis might be in trouble. But how long is Morant out? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they haven't said at this point, but when you're dealing with that wrist situation, it's always a difficult situation.
Right, and there was a hand that he already had injured.
Yeah. Listen, Jimmy Butler doing what Jimmy Butler does type of things. So is it sustainable for Jimmy? Because we've seen him have these types of games, and then we've kind of seen him do some drop-offs. Now with Tyler Hero with a broken hand,
right.
That's going to be a lot of pressure that's put on Jimmy. Can the Bucks bounce back? We still don't know what's up with Giannis. Do they have enough on their team with Drew Holiday as well as Middleton to get it done?
I think they have enough to get it done, but I don't think that's the last of Jimmy Butler though. Yeah. But I think the Bucks have enough to get it done. The next game at home, I think they should be able to come out with the victory that game, but they're still going to have to find a way to slow Jimmy down, and he's going to stay aggressive. I don't see him losing his aggressiveness throughout this series, especially if he can continue to get to the basket the way he was getting to the basket the other night. They're going to have to find a way to keep him out of the lane, and but offensively, I think they have enough to come up with the victory in the next game.
Two more. I want to jump to Saturday. Look, it seems like home court advantage in some of these instances, it don't really matter. Obviously it's only one game. It doesn't seem like home court advantage used to be. It's not the same as it used to be back in our time, right?
Right.
But the one did the Cavalier Knick game surprise you? Because everybody all year has been doubting Brunson, and Brunson just continues to show up and show out and show that he was a mistake that the Dallas Mavericks let get away.
Oh my God. The outcome of the game really didn't surprise me. I thought that game, that series, is going to, go back and forth. So I felt, each team is going to win on the other team's home court at one point. But you can really see the effect that Brunson had on the game, because the first half, the foul trouble kept him out of the game, and he really couldn't, get into a rhythm. But second half, once he got into a rhythm and got into a flow, you could really see the way the Knicks was able to really start putting things together out there on the floor. And you could see how much he was missed in the first half. That kid is really balling out for the Knicks. He really got them in the position that they're in. Although Randall has had a great year, but he's really been the key, driving that car. And they're going to go as far as he leads them. And like I say, I know Randall is still having a great year, but Brunson is the guy that's going to lead the Knicks throughout these playoffs.
For sure. Let's quick talk about this series. This is an intriguing series for me because I think they're unsung and they're where they're supposed to be for a reason. And let's talk about the Kentucky two-step. Wasn't even a starter. But, we knew all year, if you didn't get to see him, that's just because he's out in the West Coast. He's in a small market, and you just didn't really get to see him a lot. But De'Aaron Fox is everything that he's supposed to be. A great pickup for them was Malik Monk. That created the tandem of the Kentucky two-step, and both of them go for 30 and handle business against Golden State. Even when Golden State was making runs, jumping back at them, getting back into the game, they held on, got it done. But can they finish it off?
As far as the finals,
this series. This is a tough series.
It's going to be a tough series. I got this one going 7 as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's my sleeper team. Sacramento. And when you finish top 2, top 3 in the West, I don't understand how you're a sleeper team. But I mean, they've done it all year long. They're feisty. They play hard. They compete every night, and that's one reason I think this series is going to go 7. I mean, of course, you have the leadership and veteran. And the veterans on the Golden State Warriors that's been through this before, but these young boys, they come out ready to play. Mike Brown has got them ready to play. The game plan has been sharp, and like you said, there's no quit. Whether you make a run at them and go up, or whether they continue to try to fight to stay in the game. I mean, they have no quit in their blood, so I can see them. Seeing them winning the series is tough because, I say, the Warriors are the Warriors. But I can see them pushing the Warriors to 7.
Deep. Got 2 more for you, and let's just start with this one before I get to the last one. The Nuggets against the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards has been struggling a little bit, as we saw in the playing games, continuing on. But what's scary about the Nuggets in this particular game, that Jamal Murray is seeming to, he's been consistent, but he's seemingly caught, wind of something. 9 for 22, 4 for 10 from 3, back to how he was playing in the bubble with a struggling Jokic in the night, who normally kind of leads the team in assists. Jamal took over that, but the depth and the scoring from everybody, from Porter, Gordon, Caldwell, Pope, and as well as Brown, all of them in double figures. So that's scary. If they can continue to play like that with that type of balance, that can make them dangerous in this, for them to make a run.
I mean, that's super scary. I mean, they were already scary before those guys start contributing like that. But when I watched that game last night, man, like you say, they were firing on all cylinders. And Jokic got into foul trouble, so you didn't play much in the second half. But Jamal Murray got his shot going, and you say 9 for 22. I think he started the game maybe 1 or 2 for 8 or 1 or 2 for 9 or something like that. So once he got it going, he really kept his foot on the pedal, and it came from everybody. And if they get that type of contribution, then they're going to be a tough team to beat. I don't see anybody in the West beating them, but they're going to have to continue to be consistent with that and do that every night, though.
Absolutely. And the last game is a series that most people are interested in and want to watch. That's LA Clippers against the Phoenix Suns. LA Clippers go in there and handle business. The matchup between Kawhi Leonard and Durant is always going to be one to watch. And Leonard gets the best of him that night, going nuts. 38 points, just a well-rounded game. Westbrook dropping dimes, struggling, 3 for 19. He can't continue to play that way. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. I think for the long haul, especially without having, their ace in the hole there as well in this series. So, but with Leonard playing this way, going in and stealing that one from Phoenix, that's a big win for the Clippers.
That was a big win. Like I said, it surprised me. I didn't think they was gonna be able to go, especially game one. I didn't think they was gonna be able to go in there and steal game one.
Yeah, without George.
Russ, no Paul George. Westbrook shooting the way he shot, but he did contribute in other ways, and that's what I love about. That's what I love about his game. I mean, even when he's not shooting the ball well, he's going to do other things that's going to, help his team be successful.
Veteran Erick Gordon. Veteran Erick Gordon.
Mr. Quiet Assassin, I call him. He's just so quiet out there. Just gets the job done on a consistent basis. And, I just love watching him play because he plays the game the right way. He's not forcing anything. And, he just takes what the offense gives him. And I love watching him play.
Great stuff. Hey, man, listen, I held you because we're on the stream today and not necessarily on the radio, so we didn't have to pause for any station identifications or breaks. But we just gonna give away the Strickland today. I had Joe Beast on the line. I had to get all of that out of you today, brother. So I'm glad that you were able to stay around and talk some NBA talk and a little bit about it. But real quick, man, we played together before we go on this break. We played together in Milwaukee. It was a tremendous experience, man. Got to know you real well. Learned a lot about you, that you're a music connoisseur. You write and get in the booth and put music together. It was very good to have the opportunity to play with you, man, and as a brother, and really enjoyed that time we shared together.
Oh man, back at you, bro. I really enjoyed our time. I learned a lot from you, bro. Probably one of the smartest guys I played with, bro. I appreciate the time I played with you, man. And it's always love.
No doubt. And we hope to have you back, man, during the playoffs again. If you would join us, we definitely would love to have you back, man. Great stuff.
Oh man, yeah, of course. Just let me know, and I'm here.
That's our guy, man. Joe Beast, former #1 draft pick, long-time career in the NBA, friend of mine, played at the Bucks with him. Joe, thanks for joining us once again on the block, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
All right, no problem, Strick. Have a good one. You and Austin, y'all be blessed, man.